Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In Hebrews chapter 6, verses 10 through 12, we have three verses that supply three reasons why we should engage in good works, love and good works. The first is found in verse 10 where it says, "For God is not unrighteous so as to forget your work and the love which you have shown toward his name, and having ministered and continuing to minister to the saints." The first reason that we should engage in good works is because the Lord will remember those good works. When perhaps other people don't even know about the good works that we're doing, or they might forget about the good works, or even we ourselves might forget. Some things we do where we just do some good works and we just do it because it's the right thing to do, and we forget about it and we don't even remember the good works that we do. But God will remember. And that's should be motivation for us to engage in good works, because our loving Father is watching over us, and he's seeing the good work that we do, and he's not going to forget it. The second one is found in verse 11 where it says, "And we desire that each one of you show the same diligence so as to realize the full assurance of hope until the end." He's wanting them all to show the same diligence in these love and good works. And the reason for that was so that they might have this full assurance of hope until the end. Whenever we're engaged in good works, it gives us more assurance and it increases our hope. You know, if we look back on our lives and we haven't really done much for the kingdom, we've kind of just lived a selfish life, we just kind of stay in our comfort zone and we're kind of just gliding through life. It doesn't really do much to increase our assurance and our hope for the future. But when we have our sleeves rolled up, we're engaged in good works, we're doing the hard work of furthering God's kingdom, we're loving others, and we're even doing it when it hurts. And we look back on our lives and it's just littered with good works through and through. That gives us full assurance to say, you know what? God has used me in all these different ways, and I know that he will lead me to a good end, and that I will have eternal rest with him. Not that we trust in our good works, or that we think that our good works will somehow earn us our eternal life, but when we do look back on the ways that God has used us, it does increase our assurance, and it helps us to have more confidence as we look to the future. And then in verse 12, it says, "So that you may not be dull or become dull, but imitators of those who through faith and patience inherit the promises." So that you may not become dull. And that word for dull in the original also means sluggish. So that you don't become sluggish. Being engaged in love and good works is a way to safeguard ourselves from getting into this sluggish spiritual state. We can just get to where we're not really doing too much. We kind of just drift off into the world and drift off into our own, being preoccupied with our own things. And we begin to get sluggish when it comes to spiritual things. But when we're engaged in the work, you know, when we're having to rely on the Lord each and every day for the help to do his work, it helps us not to be sluggish. You know, once you go out there and start doing the work, and you walk out on that limb, you know, where you really have to trust the Lord and walk by faith, it causes us to have our eyes wide open and to not allow ourselves to go to sleep and be sluggish and be sleepy Christians, but to be wide awake because we got our hands to the plow, we got our eyes fixed straight ahead, and we're doing the work of the kingdom. So for these three reasons, we ought to continue in love and good works. One, because God's not going to forget the good works that we do. Two, so that we will have full assurance to the end. And then thirdly, because we don't want to become dull and sluggish. We want to remain diligent doing the work of God. So let's go out there and let's do some good works. Let's if we haven't been doing these things, let's start today start looking for opportunities to serve God and His kingdom, to serve our fellow man, and to do the work that God has called us to do. So these are some things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.